And I got a phone call asking me if I would come to Salt Lake and participate in the Joseph Smith papers. They wanted to produce a television series. Would I write that television series? So I said, I'll be there tomorrow. And I drove down to Salt Lake, and they asked me to take on the job of creating a television documentary series based on the life of the Latter-day Saint prophet Joseph Smith. And I did. I went down and they handed me boxes of material from interviews with scholars, because it was not meant to be a religious project. It was meant to be a papers project. It was not at all.
Just a historical.
Yeah, it was historical. It was not at all focused on anything proselyting. It was focused on the papers and the history of Joseph Smith based on the documents. The same thing they've done for Washington, Franklin, Jefferson, and others. They were going to do it for Joseph. Would I come and participate? And I would take the material gathered and gleaned by the scholars, and I would then write it into a television show, I think 26 minutes in length. So I created the first script.
You had to write that, because I thought there was like maybe a team that would help you write that, but no, you had to write all that yourself.
I had to glean through mountains of material and interviews.
How long did it take you to write one episode?
Well, the first one took me like 2 weeks to just glean through. A 26-minute show is about 4,000 words. I just finished another documentary 2 days ago, and it takes days. Now it still takes me days to create a single one, and that doesn't count the interviews and gathering up all the research. That's just the abridging and the writing.
So this just turned into a full-time job then, because it had to have been.
Yeah, the Joseph Smith Papers project was full-time, week to week, a show every single week for 2 years. And I still remember when we got that first show written, I still didn't quite know what my role was. I handed in the script, it was approved, and then it came back and they said, okay, come with me. And by the way, grab your suit and tie. And the next thing I know, I was in the back of the studio with this giant camera pointed at me. I was supposed to write and produce the show. I didn't know I was hosting it.